Hello, I'm Richard with EV4U Custom Conversions. And in this episode we're going to spotlight our 1974 VW Beetle B.O.B, which stands for Battery Operated Bug. Back in 2009, he was kind of a focal point of EV4U. This was our original marketing vehicle. He's been to over 100 shows throughout the West, and he's lead acid. And so what we're doing currently is we're converting this vehicle to lithium. At the time that B.O.B was converted, we were trying to keep the price point of the conversion under $20,000. That included labor. And so lithium just didn't pencil out. And so we went with lead acid, which allowed us to have a marketing vehicle that when people asked how much, we could tell them, a price that was under $20,000, which was still hard for a lot of people to swallow, but much better than telling them it was going to be $30,000. So anyway, B.O.B until last year was doing the show circuit and out and about. Last year we brought on Carmen, our 1974 Carmen Ghia, and even though she's not restored and doesn't have a beautiful paint job like B.O.B, she was lithium, and she was a vehicle that we felt comfortable taking just anywhere. When you have a vehicle with a nice paint job like this, you're kind of careful about where you take it. Kids and bicycles and strollers and dogs and things like that tend to be a little bit of a liability when you have an expensive paint job and fenders and running boards that are kind of an enticement to those things. And so Carmen is a great vehicle to take and just drive around wherever you are. Go into a restaurant, leave it out front where she can be manhandled by the crowds and really not do any harm. So anyway, B.O.B has just been sitting kind of in storage. We're going to upgrade him to lithium and then offer him for sale. But in this video, what I thought I'd do, if we can get enough video on it, we do so many projects that we're lucky to get a single photograph. So this is not our strong point, and I'm always reminded somewhat after the fact that, should have taken pictures or video. So we've already removed the batteries from the interior of the car. This had 12 volt batteries for a 156 volt system. We used a Trojan battery. B.O.B still had about a 5-mile range on batteries that were purchased in 2009. But that's not very good range by any means, but it was enough to get us in and off of a trailer and to a show and that kind of thing. But with the lead acid, the battery pack weighed 792 pounds. We're going to be replacing it with a 44 cell, 100 ampere hour cell pack that will weigh 312 pounds. So we're taking our car from just under 2,600 pounds to under 2,200 pounds. So it will make a big difference in the acceleration and handling and braking. This car has 4-wheel disc brakes, heavy-duty anti-sway bar. It was set up to outperform the original stock configuration, even though it was lead acid and converted, which it did. But we're going to up that again. But in doing so, let me back up. With the lead acid, we had welded polypropylene boxes to contain the batteries in. And in the lids, there was a gasket, and the lids were 1/4 inch thick polycarbonate. And they were vented, and it had kind of a dual system as far as the venting went. It had a passive system. We have scoops underneath the vehicle that drew air in and through the battery boxes, and then the exhaust was perpendicular to the airflow, so that it created a low pressure and helped draw the air. The vent system is also activated, well, it had the passive system that I was mentioning. You could also turn it on with a switch under the dash. A lot of times we were at a car show or something that sits in the sun all day. We would turn the fan on for a minute, and that would get the hot air out of the battery boxes and cool it down at least to the ambient air temperature. Then also, whenever you plug it in to charge, the fans come on. And we had them staggered. In other words, there's 2 boxes in the rear which are larger, and we have the small one in the front, 2 batteries in the front here. And so the rear ones would come on for a certain amount of time, and then the front one would come on, and they'd be on together for a little bit, and then they would shut off, and then they would cycle again. So that it wasn't venting continuously, just I think it was 10 minutes on, 30 minutes off type of thing. Also, the blowers that were used were a marine grade blower, so they were a sparkless blower. And the blower motor is mounted below the height of the batteries. The hydrogen gas that's given off when the battery's gas during charging is lighter than air, so it rises. And then we would push the air, would draw through the fan, and exhaust back out. So those gases weren't going past our fan, they were exhausting out. All these things are designed to, with safety in mind. Now that we're getting rid of the lead acid and converting to lithium on this, we're not going to use this front battery rack at all. It's going away. We're only going to use one battery rack. That was the one where the bench seat would be. And so this front is going to be totally redesigned. That's what we're doing right now. So we'll remove these batteries. All the others have been removed already. We'll remove these 2, pull this fixture out of the vehicle. It actually sits recessed down in the hole where the gas tank was, and then is bolted in place in the same factory bolt locations that the gas tank was bolted in place. And so it's a very secure setup. You're not going to break that loose anytime soon, and matter of fact, it takes a little bit of effort to get it out of the hole. So we will make this available if somebody wants to use it in a project. We no longer have use for it, and if you email us at info@evforyounow.com, we'll make it available for you. It'll come with the aluminum trim, the ABS surrounds, the polycarbonate top, so forth. All that will go together. So we'll pull this out and show you what we're left with. Well, here's a little more close-up view. Here's where the vent hose would mount. Here's where it was. Actually, that was the intake side. This is the battery hold down, bolted through to the metal. This is what kept the batteries in place as far as going up and down. And of course they're contained in this metal framework. So we're going to pull the batteries out and then we'll remove the metal containment. Well, here's what's left after we remove the battery box. We have the hole where the gas tank went. We've got a bunch of electronics that we've got moved out of the way, which most of it will be removed or relocated. The one vent hose in place there that will be removed. So the under the bonnet area will be completely reorganized and upholstered, and so we'll have that room back, which was currently eaten up by the battery. And then behind the seat area will also be just storage. That will be kind of redone a little bit to allow for kind of an area where you can lift up a hinged compartment and there will be storage in the back there. And the batteries will all be in this one spot in front of the rear axle, down low, and securely mounted in the vehicle. It's mounted in such a way, let's see if we can take a little closer look here. It's bolted in place where the seat belt is with a custom bracket. So it mounts to that point. It mounts with a point here. It's strapped through the pan of the car, and then it's also mounted where the stock seat belt mounts are. So basically this is mounted in 6 spots, which makes for a very secure battery containment. So we're going to see how our 44 cells get oriented in that space, and we'll have to redo some of our wiring to accommodate our new battery format, layout. But like I said, we're going to be almost 500 pounds lighter, so this will be pretty nice. Well, we'll give you an inside look at our safety interlock. This is what we use to disable the vehicle while it's being charged. This vehicle, we always charge it just using 110. And you can use the same setup whether you're using 220 or 110. But anyway, our charger will plug into a regular 3-prong grounded outlet, and this is just a junction box that we use. This is coming from our charge port, which is in the inside the regular gas fill location. We make our own custom covers for these things, and inside here we have a double pole, double throw relay, which when this is plugged in, it's a 110 volt coil, which then pulls the relay contacts in, and this then went to our fan timer setup as well as disabling the vehicle. We're no longer going to have the fan set up, so we're going to remove some of the unnecessary wiring and just leave the safety interlock disabling feature so that the vehicle can't be moved while it's plugged in. And then this is going to be relocated from its original position where it was mounted on the back side of the battery box originally. All that will be in here will be the charger. The charger is smaller than the size of a briefcase, and I don't know if we're going to put it right here in front where we have the original charger, or if we're going to put it like we have on the Karmann Ghia, just on top right here. We'll give that some thought. Just wanted to show you this real quick. So that's what we're doing on this project right now, is we're just taking care of things that are no longer needed. They're being removed. We had a pack tracker installed on this. Not going to be using that anymore. We will be installing a JLD 404, and so that needs to be find a location for that, install it, and wire it up. All the wiring will already be in place for that. How this was initially set up, the most positive point in our pack was one of these batteries up front here. And so our charger went to that point, and then the negative side went to the negative most in the far back pack. Well, now the charging is going to, the most positive, most negative points in the pack will be in that center position, and so we're going to have to run another line for the charger back to that area of the vehicle. The two double-aught cables that came forward are being removed, and we're only going to come as far forward as our emergency and service disconnect, which is on the hump near the stick shift. It'll come that far forward and then back. So we're making those modifications, and of course we're going to have to modify the battery containment, not so much the the outer box containment, but we'll need to be modifying it to hold the batteries secure within that box because of the different size and so forth of the new cells that are going in. So I'll try to get try to remember to take some shots of those things so that you can stay up to date. And I'll give you some other shots here. Just the mess under the front as we work on things. Here's the wiring that we've pulled that will be going away. This is the service disconnect that I was mentioning. So that double-aught wiring will only come that far forward. Originally it was set up so that, like I said, we had one line going forward that was coming from our middle pack, went forward to the one of the batteries in the front pack, then came from the most positive point on that, which was the most positive point in our pack, came back through our safety or our service disconnect. And that was our most positive point, then going back then to our main contactor. And that is right here. So that was our wiring setup. That is going to be changed a little bit. You don't need as long a run of wire and so forth as we originally had. And also, you can see once we have the weight removed, look at the clearance on the wheel wells. The coilover shocks in the front will be going away. Those are no longer necessary. We'll go with just some gas shocks up front. And in the rear, we will drop our air shocks down. We like the air shocks in the rear just for adjusting the ride height so the vehicle has a little rake to it and so forth. So those are the changes, to come. Here's another project we're working on. This is our sand rail. This is going to be used in our workshops. So those who take our 3-day hands-on conversion workshops will actually get to convert this sand rail to electric. It's in the gasoline configuration right now. In the workshops, they remove these internal combustion items, and then they install the electric components. And I'm not going to show you that. You have to take the workshop to see all that. I will say that it's powered by a Warp 9 net gain motor. And we hope you join us in the workshops. So here it is outside of the vehicle. Like I said, if you're interested in this, we would sell it to anybody who wants to purchase it. And we'll continue updating you on the update of the bug from lead to lithium.